Hello there. Welcome to the Attachment Project series all about attachment. For as far back as I can remember, I had difficulties with relationships. Despite the fact that I wanted to hold down meaningful relationships, and no matter how much work I put into them, and I put in a lot, people didn't seem to want to stick around. Obviously, this left me feeling like I wasn't good enough, and the next time I met someone special, I just immediately thought that they would also leave as soon as they got to know the real me. Eventually, to manage my worries, I started to check up on my partners, looking through their phones, texting and calling too much, and constantly pestering them to spend time with me. I just wanted to be with them and see if they were still interested in me. I really struggled to have easy, healthy relationships. That is, until during my studies, I came across the concept of attachment theory and realized that there might be an explanation for why I think and act the way that I do within relationships. I have an anxious attachment style. I found a home for my interest and skill set here at the Attachment Project. Through knowledge, understanding, and self-work, I am at a stage in my life when my anxious attachment no longer dictates my feelings and actions. I want this for you too. Throughout this video, we will talk about how the anxious attachment style typically forms, as well as how it may have impacted your life. We will also talk about the steps that you can take towards becoming more secure in your relationships, as well as in your opinion of yourself. If you think that you might have an anxious style, or are curious about your attachment style in general, then you can take our free quiz and have your results back in a matter of moments. The anxious preoccupied attachment style typically forms in the first 18 months of a child's life as a response to the bond that they form with their primary caregivers. The roots of this attachment style are usually in the child's perception that their caregiver neglects their needs. There could be a number of reasons why a child sees their caregiver's actions in this way, but usually it is because of the caregiver's inconsistent parenting. This form of parenting means that a caregiver might be attentive and caring towards their child's needs on some occasions, but on others, they may not respond to them in the way that the child requires. For example, if a young child in a cot cries out and indicates that they are upset, an inconsistent parent may run to soothe them on certain occasions, but on others, they might decide that the child should cry it out and self-soothe. So, how is a child supposed to make sense of this behavior? Sometimes when their caregivers are supportive and attentive to their needs, they are so happy they could burst. But they can't predict when their caregivers will withdraw this affection, so they become perplexed and anxious. There are many possible reasons why a caregiver may not act in sync with their child's needs. Perhaps they have a busy lifestyle and are only attentive in front of other people. Maybe they have a stressful career which causes them to be distracted. Or perhaps, and this one is quite a popular theory, these caregivers have an emotional need of their own. They may, in fact, have an insecure attachment style. In these situations, they may be subconsciously using their child to meet their own emotional needs, and as a result, the child's needs are neglected. I understand that some of this information might feel a little upsetting or triggering. If at any stage you feel like your emotions are becoming overwhelming, or that you would like to take a calming moment, then our link below will bring you to a short meditation script. Come back to the video whenever you're ready. Although attachment styles are typically viewed as a spectrum or dimensions on which people can fall on differently according to their circumstances and experiences, there are still typical traits that are associated with the anxious attachment style. You might find that you recognize yourself in some of the following descriptions. Don't worry if you don't identify with all of them. We're all individuals and uniquely different. Your attachment style doesn't define you. People with an anxious attachment might erroneously think that they're not worthy of love. They also often feel like they're not good enough. They may think that other people are better than them. Due to their belief that they're not good enough, someone with an anxious attachment might try to seek approval from others. They might deeply fear rejection and abandonment from those they care about. This might cause them to act hyper-vigilant towards any potential threats to their relationship, even if there's no reason to, meaning that an anxious attacher may overanalyze the smallest insignificant details of their interactions with others in an attempt to make sense of them. They will often do their utmost to avoid criticism or rejection, even if this means having to people-please and self-sacrifice. Anxious attachers might have a hard time making decisions and rely on others to make choices for them, even if it's something that they don't want. Most importantly, anxious attachers are typically caring and kind people who pay attention to their environment and the people in it. However, they may do so to the detriment of their own well-being. Can you identify with any of these characteristics? I know that when I first came across them, it was as if a light bulb went on in my head, especially the ones about not feeling good enough or worthy of love. Now that you have an understanding of how the anxious attachment style develops, as well as how it can influence how someone thinks and acts, you might be wondering what your next steps are. Well, how an anxious attacher behaves can depend on their social setting. In our next videos on anxious attachment, we look at how this attachment style can affect friendships, relationships, and the workplace. You never know what you might find out about your own situation, so make sure you don't miss them. Make sure to check out our comprehensive book, Attachment Styles, Ultimate Guide and Workbook, for more detail on your attachment styles and attachment exercises. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.